And that is called an anastomotic ulcer, which means it's not an ulcer that people, 80% of the time when people get an ulcer, it's caused by a bacteria called H. pylori. This was not. This was just because there was a scar there, it made it weaker, and it basically grew right where the scar was. So the January of 2011, they did what's called a vagotomy, and the vagus nerve in your body goes to your stomach and tells your stomach to produce acid, or at least that's part of what it does. It does a whole lot of other things, but the main part is that it tells your stomach to produce acid. So if you cut that, you end up with only 10% of the previous acid production. And because this anastomotic ulcer was bleeding and it wasn't going away, they went in and they severed that vagus nerve, so I would have a lot less acid production. September of 2011, let's see, I was 24. I had been having, like, all throughout this, problems with my teeth, and they just kept breaking, and I would either lose them or they'd try to fill a cavity and it would break off more, and they were really, really bad. When they did x-rays, they found that I had lost the majority of the roots of all of my teeth. So my first thought was I not brushing enough? Was I not flossing enough? And the doctor said that it wasn't that. It was basically when you have organs that are under stress. When they removed my pancreas, they said I had about 2 years left, and it was already starting to affect the functioning of the liver and the kidneys. So when your body is in that situation, what it does is it tries and pulls reserves from where it can to fight that off and to give that energy to the organs instead, because the organs are more critical. Basically, what my body had done was pull the defense system for my teeth that maintain your teeth and keep your roots safe. It had pulled that from basically the teeth and put that energy and work into the organs. So my roots were dying as an effect of that. So they had to remove all but 2 of my lower teeth and then all of the top teeth. So these are fake. They're really nice, but they're fake. So kind of interesting, 32-year-old with full dentures. Later, they did end up having to remove those 2 bottom ones. And I have 4 implants on the top that the dentures click on and 2 on the bottom that those click on. I had also, over the years, been diagnosed with endometriosis, which is when the cells that make up the lining of a woman's uterus go outside the uterus, attach themselves there, and then every month when the hormone cycle goes off, they still get inflamed, and that causes pain. And because there are cells where they're not supposed to be, it just causes a lot of pain and a lot of inflammation. So I ended up having to get a laparoscopy to diagnose that. And then they also had to do a procedure where they removed some of the cells on the inside to see if that would cut down on the pain. It did help. Basically, I have to be on the Depo-Provera shot, which is a progesterone injection. That stops the estrogen. Estrogen is what makes endometriosis worse. So that's why every month when estrogen levels would spike is when I would have a lot of pain. And a whole lot of other issues that I'm not going to go into. But at any rate, that helps for a little bit. The Depo has been consistently helping. What it does is it really, really slows the progress of endometriosis. You can't actually stop it. There's no cure. The only treatments that could happen is if it gets bad enough, they can go in and remove some of the cells in the abdomen on the outside of the uterus. Problem is since I've had so many abdominal surgeries, For example, the scar that they went in 4 times in Minneapolis goes from the lower part of my sternum all the way down to my pubic bone. So it's pretty long. It takes a little detour around the belly button, which is kind of cool. That leaves a lot of scar tissue. They knew that going in there to remove cells for endometriosis would be complicated by all the scar tissue that's in there. So as of right now, the only treatment that we can use is the hormone injections. In May of 2014, I ended up being down to 89 pounds. I couldn't eat a whole lot because it was still causing pain, still causing issues. So what they ended up having to do, because my nutrients were so depleted and my weight was so low, was put me on a feeding tube. First one was put in May. Then they had to redo it a month later because before the first surgery, they didn't tell the doctor exactly all what had been done to the insides. So it was a completely topsy-turvy anatomy. He didn't know exactly what he was working with until he went in there and wasn't happy with the initial tube replacement or placement. So then they would replace it a month later with a much smaller version. Yeah, it was October of the same year as when I was finally up to weight, maintained the weight, and was somewhat able to eat again. And they took out the feeding tube. Meanwhile, I'm still having chronic pain. They don't know what's going on. I have had a lot of tests done and such. So Pain Management Clinic that is here in Green Bay, they have an option called the spinal cord stimulator, which is a device that sends cords up your spinal cord, and they send little electrical bursts to stimulate the nerves into more of a calming feeling instead of a pain sensation. So the way I describe it is pretend that someone came up to you and is tapping you on your hand. And that's going to get real annoying real fast. And with that, you start to hyper focus on this bad feeling. And pretty soon that feeling overrides anything else. Now imagine if someone came and started giving you a Swedish massage, like the best massage you've ever had, while that person is tapping. Because that massage is so good, you end up focusing more on the massage, on the good sensation, instead of the bad one. I am part cyborg, so we have this implanted device in. Basically, I have to wear a belt every once in a while to charge it, and it charges with induction charging. And that sometimes helps with the pain, not all the time. Lately, the pain has been pretty bad, and that's basically like the bulk of everything until now. I heard from a friend who had been in the hospital the same times that I was when I got my pancreas removed, because after that procedure, it's about a month and a half in the hospital that you have to stay, and then you stay another week after you're released to make sure that you're still stable and can go home. But she had been there 5 months total. So she was there when I came. She didn't leave until a couple months after I had left. And she was really great. She was from New Jersey. We hit it off. We were pretty good friends. She's got 3 kids. And she had basically had all the surgeries that I had done.